Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Trailer Park Boys. And I'm not talking about the show today. I'm talking about basically there's this film. It's like an hour and 7 minutes and it's filmed in black and white. It came out in 1999 and it's like the film pilot for the show Trailer Park Boys. Basically, the creators of Trailer Park Boys, they made this film and they were just showing it to various networks. They were, like pitching it to various networks, various executives, and, this, like, making this film led to them, getting a TV show that was picked up by Showcase. So yeah, this is pretty much like the Trailer Park Boys prototype. It's like the precursor to Trailer Park Boys, and I've wanted to see it for quite a while. I've been very curious. It's you can't really find it anywhere. There's not a DVD that I know of. There's not a Blu-ray that I know of. It's not on any streaming. I don't even know if there was a VHS. This movie is very obscure. All of the pretty much all of the other Trailer Park Boys stuff is on Netflix. Even this other film that the Trailer Park Boys guys did called One Last Shot. That's from 1998. That's on Netflix, but Trailer Park Boys 1999 is not on Netflix. So this movie's super hard to find nowadays. If you just look it up on the internet, it's easy to find. But in terms of like finding a legit way to watch a great quality version of it, yeah, it's hard to find. But I mean, the version that I watched wasn't terrible quality. Like, I was just happy to watch it. I just, was able to find it on the internet, so that was cool. So, anyways, that's like a little background info about the movie for people who don't know about it. But I feel like Trailer Park Boys fans do know about this for the most part. Maybe some don't, but I don't know. I've like known about this for a while. It's like has like this like lore around it, this like mystique. I'm like, I gotta see it because it's just like it's so rare. Like I'm like, how am I ever gonna see this? But I guess I should just look stuff up on the internet. That's a good way to go. But anyways, in terms of my enjoyment and my overall opinion, I thought this was a good movie. There was quite a bit of differences, from like between this and the actual show, but for the most part, like the tone was similar, the comedy was similar. We had a lot of the same characters, a lot of the same actors and actresses, and yeah, it pretty much there was so many similarities, but there was also like some subtle differences where it felt like a Trailer Park Boys movie, but it's not like the Trailer Park Boys we know and love. But it was still good, and like I said, pretty much the same tone. So very funny, very enjoyable. In terms of the plot summary, so the movie focuses on Ricky and Julian, and Julian, he called up this psychic, and the psychic said that he only had 5 days to live. So he was freaking out, and he like really believed that he was gonna die in 5 days. So he hired this documentary crew to, film his life. So, Pete like so he could kind of like live on after death. And so yeah, they're just, Ricky and Julian are going about their daily lives. They're being filmed by this documentary crew, and in this movie, their job is they like people hire them to kill their pets. I know it sounds crazy, At first, I was like, "What the heck?" But yeah, people hire them to like kill their pets that they don't want anymore, and they like break in their houses and make it look like an accident. So they're going about their daily business, drinking, doing drugs, uh, you know, killing pets for money. And there's this one, the kind of their main goal is there's this one job that there's this guy. It's actually the character is played by Patrick Roach, but he's not. Patrick Roach doesn't play Randy in this. He plays this guy, a totally different character, named Patrick Lewis, and basically this guy, every like neighbor on his block has chipped in money to get this dog killed because the dog like goes to the bathroom on everyone's lawn. So throughout the movie, Ricky and Julian are trying to kill Patrick's dog, but like Patrick is always around and they can never kill his dog, and they want to successfully complete the job so that they can get this big score. It's only $600, but to them that's like a lot of money. So like they're trying to get this big score, and also it's like the challenge. Like they're like it's about the principle because they just can't seem to finish the job, aka kill this guy's dog. So that's the basic plot summary. So yeah, okay. All going over the characters that are the same and like they've like the same names and they're played by the same actors and actresses. The characters that we all know and love that are in this are, you got Julian and Ricky, of course. Lucy is in this. You have Trinity, Corey and Trevor, and then yeah, that's it for like the characters that we know from the series. So like I said, Patrick Roach is in the movie, but he plays a different character, and then so the actor who played Sam Lasco in the series, he's in this, but I don't think his character is Sam Lasco. I think he's just a different character. He's just in the movie for like 1 or 2 minutes. So yeah, that's those are like the similarities and differences with the characters. In terms of similarities and differences with the overall movie, the movie pretty much has the same opening as the show. Like it's shot different. It is pretty much the same, where you just have like B-roll footage of the trailer park, and you have like the trailers, and I think there was like kids on bikes, and so it's like it's the same type of scenery, but the shots are slightly different, but it's the same exact music for the opening. And then yeah, pretty much Ricky and Julian are like they're I would say like 90% the same as they are in the actual show. And then Ricky's daughter Trinity, she's still like super young, smoking cigarettes, and they're like, oh, she's trying to quit, she's on the patch. And then you have like like quite a few of the themes in this were still they carried over to the series. Like Ricky and Julian treat Corey and Trevor like shit throughout the movie, so I'm always happy to see that. So yeah, you did have quite a few similarities, but in terms of differences, you got a couple here. So this is like a little subtle difference, but I gotta mention it. So Julian, he's like his normal self. He's sipping drinks constantly, drinking and driving. All the stuff we know Julian loves to do. He's always got a drink in his hand, drinking and driving. This guy's never he's never without a drink. But in this movie, there were a couple instances where he had a rum and coke, but I feel like a couple times he was like actually quite a few times he was sipping like a clear liquor, like he was sipping either vodka or gin. And in the series he's pretty much only sipping rum and cokes unless like that one time when he was down bad and he was sipping Swish. You know, sometimes you're down bad, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta sip some Swish. But generally, he's always sipping rum and coke. So in this, I was like, what is he drinking? Clear liquor? What is he drinking? Vodka? Like Julian, I don't think he really drinks vodka ever. Like this fool just drinks rum. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess rum is sometimes clear, but he just had like a clear glass of something. He's never just sipping a clear glass of something. So I thought that was like a subtle little difference that I don't know, wanted to mention. And then something different in this movie, you know, in the series, uh, you know, of course, Julian's always drinking. All the Trailer Park Boys are always drinking, but Julian doesn't smoke as much weed, but he'll smoke a little weed. But Ricky's like a huge stoner. In this, I don't even recall them smoking weed once, but they were just doing like, they were doing coke all day. Like they were just snorting coke, like every second they had a chance to, and like um, that was kind of jarring to me because I don't recall them ever, you know, doing coke on the show. I feel like they would just do. I feel like for the most part in the series they just drank, smoked cigarettes, and smoked weed, and I don't really think they ever were doing coke. But in this movie they're doing it all day every day. So that was kind of jarring. That was kind of different. Um, and then basically uh, something crazy in this movie was the fact that okay, Trevor and Corey still kind of, you know, wanted to hang with Ricky and Julian, but so sometimes when they would be interviewed in the movie, like you know how it's like documentary style, like the show, you have like the characters being interviewed. Sometimes when they're being interviewed, they're like, "Oh, I hate Ricky and Julian," and like they're like quite a few times, Corey and Trevor are like talking shit about Ricky and Julian, and I thought that was kind of different because I don't recall them really ever talking shit about Ricky and Julian in the show unless they were like extremely pissed. Like they always just totally sucked up to Ricky and Julian. They just like they just were obsessed with them. They just they like Ricky and Julian were Corey and Trevor's idols. And this they were like talking mad shit about them. So I thought that was kind of weird. But like I said, you know, Ricky and Julian were still just treating Corey and Trevor terribly. So there was like still like a pretty similar dynamic. And then like I said earlier, in this they're pet killers, which I'm glad that was taken away for the show because you know I kind of get it. Like in this movie, that it's kind of supposed to be like outlandish, like they're total, you know, sleazy, grimy dudes. They're killing people's house pets and like I get why like I get like the joke of it and why it's funny, but I feel like you know most people, including myself, like animals and even though it is like the concept is kind of funny, like oh they like you know go around and they're like pet exterminators under the table. Like it's a funny concept. Like it even though it is like I'm glad that they scrapped that idea for the show because it just makes them unlikable. Like if no one really wants it, like they're even though they do get into trouble and they're kind of you know grimy sleazy guys, like they're still pretty much the protagonist and they're still supposed to be likable. Like if your main characters are like pet exterminators, that makes them like really unlikable. And when I was watching this, it was like yeah, once I kind of realized that they were like that was their job. They would like go shoot people's pets. Like it was yeah, it was hard to like them as much as I still liked their characters, like their comedy and stuff, but it was like hard to root for them or like care about them as much because they just seemed like kind of like not good people, So I'm glad that they scrapped that. I mean, if they're pitching this to networks, of course, TV executives are going to be like, yeah, this is a great pilot, but yeah, you got to drop this whole pet exterminator thing. We get it, it's kind of funny, but it makes the characters too unlikable. If they're a little unlikable, that's cool because it's like kind of funny. They're supposed to be, you know, greasy, grimy, crusty dudes, but if you can't make them too unlikable. Like they can't be evil, you know. I mean, sometimes that works with like anti-heroes. They kind of are anti-heroes, but yeah, you can't have your main characters be pet exterminators. So I'm glad that they dropped that. Also, I'm kind of glad that they dropped the whole thing where they're doing a bunch of coke. Like I feel like when they pitched this to the network executives, it was the same deal. They're like, yeah, this is a great pilot, super funny. I love the characters, but we can't sell this if they're doing coke every 5 seconds. Like, you know, I mean, this was probably a hard TV show to sell, regardless, because the characters are getting in trouble. They're shooting guns. They're swearing all the time. Like even though this show, like the Trailer Park Boys, came out quite a while ago, it still must have been hard to get on TV, like because it's so raunchy. But I feel like the whole just doing coke all the time thing, like, I'm not saying anything against people who do that. Whatever people want to do, if you're an adult, do whatever the heck you want to do, like whatever, floats your boat, that's all good. But for me, personally, watching it, it's like different. Like when people are drinking beers in a movie or like smoking weed in a movie, I'm like, okay, this is fun. But like when people are doing a little bit harder drugs, like I can't relate to it as much, and it's not as like it kind of loses like the fun party vibe. I'm like, oh, this is like serious. Like they're doing, serious substances. Like they have like a problem. Like I start to feel like empathetic. I'm like, man, I feel bad for them. They have like a serious addiction. But when they're just drinking and smoking weed, I'm just like, oh, like they're down to party. So maybe that's just a personal thing. But yeah, I'm glad that they just in the actual show they're just kind of smoking weed and drinking beers. For me, that's more of a fun vibe than them than the characters like doing harder drugs all the time. So yeah, basically that was like the last point I wanted to get into, just about I'm glad that they, like, some of the stuff from the pilot did not make it into the the show. So yeah, that was my last point. But in terms of a recommendation, I would recommend this. If you're a Trailer Park Boys fan, I think it's cool to see like where the show started. It's cool to see, like I said, it's like the precursor to the show. It's the show before the show. It's pretty much the show, but there's a lot of like weird, wacky differences where you're like, what the heck? Like, that's not Randy, or like, oh, like what the heck? They're dog exterminators. Like, I think it was super interesting to check out, and it is a good movie overall. It's funny. It has like it has the same exact humor that you find in the show. So if you're a fan of Trailer Park Boys, I think this is cool to check out at least once. Just to experience it, just to see where they started. So that has been my recommendation, and that has been my review of the 1999 film Trailer Park Boys. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.